Welcome to Money Talks, a weekly feature on FM 93.5 The Berg and WMEG AM 740. Today we will talk just a little bit about money, maybe some of the things you can do with it, how it can impact your life, some ideas on financial planning and investing, and getting the most out of the money you hope to have, already have, or want to pass down. So sit back, relax, listen, and maybe take some notes, as you may have some questions by the time we're done with this edition of Money Talks. Good morning, Dan Joss. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm well. Glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
So it's towards the end of the year, and people have been planning all year long. They've got it all figured out. They've got it mapped out just to a T. Is that how it really works?
It may work that way, but everyone else has also planned to do everything at the end of the year too, and so actual execution of your plan may not work when the log jam is full.
So is that kind of like on January 2nd when you say, I plan to be skinny by the end of the year? That was my plan, but I didn't execute the plan.
That's right. Well, that's more individual, but an issue with year-end planning is everybody is trying to do stuff at the end of the year, and getting it done it's kind of like, Black Friday. Everyone's going shopping, and it could be a little busy.
So that's really two pieces to that puzzle, because you got to have your plan and want to execute it.
That's right.
But then the person who's got to help you execute that has to have availability.
That's right. They're not sitting around waiting for you.
No, they're probably...
They're helping everybody else is.
Helping the other people who got to them a little bit before you.
That's right.
Okay. So what are some of the things that we should be talking about with year-end planning issues?
Well, things to do before the end of the year, or at least ask if you should do them before the end of the year, are usually tied to the tax return.
Okay.
Where activity happens for that calendar year.
Right.
So making your 401k or 403b contributions
right.
has to be done during the calendar year.
Okay.
And I have clients that make all of their contributions and max out their employer plans in January, February, and March, and then they don't have to worry about it the rest of the year.
Well, that's nice.
Others wait until the end of the year, and arguably the best thing to do is to set it up and do it throughout the year.
Okay. Now, is this something that you as a planner might call your folks in November, December and say, hey, have you gotten this done? Actually,
I'll be doing that in September.
You'll be doing that in September. Okay.
But for most part, I'll know that my clients are on track to get their contributions done.
Okay.
But I'll get new clients near the end of the year, and that's a question that we have to ask.
Okay. So you'll be calling people in September. And if the people out there in Radio Land listening today haven't gotten a call from their financial guy or gal,
they've got a couple weeks left.
They got a couple weeks left to find a new financial guy or gal who should have called them in September.
That's right. Okay.
And so what's your phone number, Dan?
757-903-2127.
Okay. If they haven't called you, you can call that number. So IRA contributions and distributions. So...
Well, specifically on that one, no, we're talking 401k contributions. IRA contributions technically can be done up until you file in April for last year. And so that's not necessarily something that has to be done during the end of the year. But again, I like to front load my IRA contributions. So I'll do it, if you were doing it now, I'd say definitely get it done before the end of the year. And then in January, do it for next year. So you're ahead of the game.
Okay. That makes sense.
But one thing that has to be done is making your required minimum distribution in this year. We can't push that off till next filing year.
Oh, you mean an RMD?
Yes, that's
okay.
Right, as opposed to ETF or ATM.
Okay.
So the RMD, required minimum distribution, for people that are over 70 and a half, is an amount the IRS says you have to take out of your IRA. I mean, they're saying, hey, if you're over 70, you're retired, so take out this amount.
But it's the IRS. I mean, if you don't do it, there's like no penalty, right?
Well, in this case, there's a 50% penalty.
So if you had to take out like $10,000, they said you need to take this out, and you don't take it out, the IRS is going to take 50% of that?
They'll take 50% of it as a penalty to you. And then because it's an RMD from a traditional IRA, it's taxable income, so you get to pay income tax on the rest.
Wow.
Which means we may get a couple $1,000s.
Well, that would be like a WTF. Well, that's fabulous.
That's wonderful. So again, plan. All of my clients' RMDs are taken, except for one where we're talking about what to do with the tax withholding, but
okay.
It will be done this week. And so plan ahead, get those tasks done.
Okay. Let's talk about losses and gains, year-end losses and gains? Because I know there are people who will say, okay, it's the end of the tax year, and let me see how my stocks did, and let me see if I can't harvest some of these losses at the end of the year. End of the year is the best time to do this? What do you think?
Well, there may not be losses at the end of the year. This year was a great year.
Well, we hope
there may not be any losses, and that depends. But if there were losses earlier in the year, you may have missed an opportunity if you're waiting until December to take those losses. So that's something that a diligent investor would be doing, is looking for opportunities throughout the year.
Okay.
So realize a loss when there are actually losses to realize.
Right.
If possible.
A diligent investor and maybe a diligent consultant would help you with that.
Or delegating investor, where they have an advisor that reminds them to do these things.
An advisor who reminds them to do those things. That sounds like something an advisor would do. All right, so we're running out of time here, but let's real quick talk about Roth conversions.
Another activity that needs to be done during the calendar year because it's reflected in your tax return.
Okay. And if you're out there in radio land and you're not sure if you've done yours or need to do yours, you don't even know if you have a Roth to convert.
Or if you should do one.
Okay.
And so it's a question that we ask and answer every year. Is this year an opportunity to do a Roth conversion that would be beneficial?
Okay.
And then get it done before the end of the year.
All right. Good questions that you should be asking. Your financial advisor, consultant should be working with you on.
And working with your tax preparer.
Okay. Good. All right. So we need to wrap this up. If somebody wants to talk to you about maybe being their consultant and advisor.
Sure. Call us at 757-903-2127.
And they can go online and check you out where?
At website, jossfinancial.com.
Excellent. Well, Dan, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for being here, and I hope everybody has a great year end.
Great. Thank you.
Money Talks is a weekly program presented for the listener's benefit and entertainment. It is provided at no cost to the listener, and the ideas, opinions, and comments are not to be construed as legal advice, tax advice, investment advice, or other advice specific to the listener. Listeners are encouraged to seek the advice of a licensed professional or other qualified party when dealing with financial, legal, tax, medical, investment, insurance, taxidermy, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, real estate, chiropractic, veterinary, oral hygiene, hot air ballooning, etc. We have given you some food for thought. Now, call a licensed professional such as Dan Joss at 757-903-2127. Thanks for listening, and remember, failing to plan is planning to fail.